Hey guys, we are back for another brew day. It's a little bit overdue, so I've got up reasonably early. It's just gone 7:30 and I'm just heating up my mash water here. So middle of last year I think it was, I did a dark mild, a coffee dark mild, which I really enjoyed. So now that we're coming up towards winter, I thought I would revisit the coffee dark mild, but I'm going to add a bit of a twist to it. So we'll just quickly run through the grain. So here's the grain here, so just a small batch. So I'll put the percentages etc on the screen, but we're going to be using ale malt, dark crystal, dark chocolate malt, biscuit, big O oated malts. And then the twist this time is I'm going to be using some Manuka smoked malt. I've had a couple of smoked beers which I've really enjoyed, so I thought maybe adding some smoke to the coffee dark mild might just add a nice little twist or an extra layer to it. Could be completely wrong, it might not turn out that great, but that's what home brewing's all about. We'll give it a whirl. So yeah, there's the grains, and then we're just going to use the same as I did last time. We're going to use some Fuggles hops for bittering, and then I'm going to use the old trusty SO4. Really enjoy that for English style beers. So yeah, we'll get into it. So I'll get my grains mashed in and we'll come back to you. Okay, so we've added the grains. So we're going to mash this for 60 minutes. I am going to be mashing quite high at around 69 degrees just to try and get a bit of extra body into the finished beer. As for the smoked malt, I can already smell it coming from the boiler here. In fact, I can even smell it off the spoon, which is interesting. So I'm hoping 20% of the grain bill is a sort of a good percentage to use. Obviously I'd want some smoke in the finished beer, but I don't want it to be super dominating, or the main player in the final beer, so I guess time will tell. So yeah, we'll let the mash do its thing and then we'll come back. Okay, so the mash is finished and we've just pulled the grain bag out and just sparged with some roughly 75-76 degree water. So we'll let that drain through, and I'm just bringing the boiler up to the boil. So anyway, we'll let this finish doing what it's doing and we'll come back at the next step. Okay, so the boil's just started. You can get an idea of the colour there, nice and dark. So yeah, we'll let that do its thing. I'm only doing a 30-minute boil because I'm only using my small urn here and I don't want to boil off too much volume. But you guys will most likely do a 60-minute boil. So we'll come back when we do the hop addition of the Fuggles. Okay, so we're 10 minutes from the end of the boil. I've just chucked some Whirfloc in there, which is why it's all foamed up. And we're just about to add in the Fuggles at 10 minutes. Try and get away from the steam. Just to give our bitterness basically. So we'll add that in. If you suddenly see me dart for the power button, it's because this thing's about to boil over. But we will see how we go. Cool. So we'll let the boil finish, so 10 minutes to go, and then we'll be back with the coffee edition. Okay, so the boil has finished and I've cooled the wort down to just under 80 degrees so we don't add any more bitterness from the Fuggles. And now we're going to add in the freshly ground coffee, 30 grams. It's all in there. So we'll stir that in and we'll let that sit for approximately 10 minutes before we start the next step. Okay, so the stand with the coffee is finished and we're just transferring it into the fermenter, passing everything through the hop spider, which I've been using for the last few brews. It's great for just separating the hop debris, or keeping the hop debris out of the fermenter, and in this case also the coffee. So we'll let that do its thing. I'll grab a hydro sample and then we'll catch at the end for a bit of a wrap up. Okay, so brew day is done and dusted. I've pitched the SO4 yeast and we'll ferment the beer starting at 18 degrees Celsius until it's finished. Well, we'll bump it up at the end just for that diaceytl rest. But anyway, here is the hydro sample. So as the name suggests, dark mild. I was looking for a dark colour. It's not black, but it's got a nice, hopefully you can see it, like a dark brown colour. What you call that, like a mahogany, chestnut sort of colour. And it's cleared up in the tube nicely. The solids have fallen out. So the brew day went well, and as I mentioned, the main change from my last coffee dark mild was the addition of the Manuka smoked malt. So what I basically did was reduced the quantity of the ale malt and swap that over for the Manuka smoked malt. So for those guys that don't know, Manuka is a New Zealand native timber. So the smoked malt is meant to give a nice smooth smoke flavour and I guess aroma, and also apparently some nice floral and a little bit of sweetness notes as well. So looking forward to that. Hopefully it works well with the coffee. I guess we won't know until the beer's ready to drink. But anyway, this hydro sample came out at 1042. So with it being a mild, I'm looking sort of in the mid 3s to high 3% range. So if we can get the SO4 yeast to get the gravity down to sort of 1014ish, we'll be in that sort of ballpark. So yeah, let's have a bit of a smell. So straight away, the first thing I'll get off the nose is the some smoke. It is a smooth smoke. It's not like a harsh, smoke that you get from like a fire or anything. So nice and, yeah, not too intense, nice and smooth. We'll go in for a taste. Okay, more of the smoke on the flavour, but once again, yeah, I describe it as the description says, smooth. Happy with the sort of smokiness at this stage. 20% I think is a pretty good starting point, depending on your personal preference of how much smoke you want in a beer or smoke flavour. But yeah, happy with the sample. And I can also taste the coffee sitting there behind. Yeah, that nice sort of fresh ground coffee flavour coming through as well. So yeah, very nice. And then in the background somewhere will be the darker malt flavours. So hopefully they'll sort of develop as the beer ferments. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you're interested in seeing the final result. So probably in about 2 weeks I'll have a tasting video up. And we'll see how it turns out. Looking forward to it. So thanks for watching. I think I've mentioned everything. If you got any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Over and out.